Okay, so this is just a little Q&A to celebrate a new milestone with the channel. And so I solicited questions from the YouTube comments and from City of Heroes Best of the Worst chat channel. And boy, did I get some questions. So let's dig in, shall we? And I had to do notes because there was a lot. So Arcana Banana asks, I've been curious what compelled you to start your own YouTube channel, and by extension, where do you want to see the channel go in, say, a year? If I remember correctly, I started a YouTube channel because I was getting stuff out of storage and I had discovered some old cassette tapes that were copies of a demo tape from a band that I saw when I was a teenager. And I wanted to preserve the music because that band no longer exists. You know, they probably made that demo tape and that was it. But I really liked their music, and so I wanted to preserve that. And I also wanted to share it with my friends who I was going to see at like a Christmas party. They were friends who had gone with me to that concert where this opening band was selling their demo tape. And I thought it would be fun to be able to play it and, you know, be like, hey, you remember this band? And then we would all be nostalgic, and that would be great. But the only way that I could think to do it, at least at the time, was to put it on YouTube. And so that's what I did. And then over time, I just started like capturing some gameplay videos. You know, I only had a few people who were watching my channel. And that was fine, that like I wasn't doing it for anyone other than like my friends. Like that was it. So that's why I started it. Where do you see the channel going in a year? Nowhere. I have no plans. I have no ambitions. I'm just doing this. I mean, for me, it's almost therapeutic. You know, part of it is just an exercise in just doing something and putting it out there and getting the validation that people like it and you know, trying to feel like things are worth doing. And to that extent, I think it's been successful. It has been helpful. He also asks, what is your personal story? What is your personal story behind your history with City of Heroes? I was playing Star Wars Galaxies. That was kind of like my first big MMO. I was really into it. I had a not great experience in that game. I don't want to get into it here. Anyways, I had a bad experience, and also SOE was just actively shooting the bed in terms of like the changes that they were making with the game. So I was looking for something else, and I was now hooked on MMOs. And two of my friends from Star Wars Galaxies had started playing this game, City of Heroes, and were like, hey, you should come check it out. And so I did. I didn't take to it at first. My first character was Assault Rifle Devices Blaster, and I was just getting my ass kicked left and right. I hated like getting stunned and mezzed and all that. And so I went and explored some other games whose names have been lost to time. I don't remember. And then at some point I gave it another chance, City of Heroes. I tried a Radiation Defender, and then that's kind of when it clicked. And so, you know, I had a couple friends. I talked about this in the last video. I had a couple friends, you know, who were playing it, but then they kind of drifted away, and I stuck with it because I like it. I think there's something special about it. Next question. Do you have any interest in branching out to do variety content, or are you fully committed to being a COH content creator? I'm not a COH. I mean, I create COH content, but I have, at the moment, some videos on Star Citizen, on The Division. I actually started recording a playthrough of The Division 2, which I had started a long time ago, and then I kind of gave up on it. So I do not and have never had plans on just doing City of Heroes content. It just kind of happens that like the City of Heroes content picked up and people are enjoying it, and I've been having fun making it, so I've just kept doing it. But you know, at some point, Star Citizen will release the Pyro system, and I'll want to play that, and I'll probably want to record that. Right now, the only reason that I haven't really been playing it is just a lot of the game loops that I enjoy in Star Citizen have been kind of busted. They've been adding some big systems to the game, but those systems have been breaking other things. And so I've just been kind of taking a break. I love Star Citizen. I do not recommend it to anyone. You have to have a very strong stomach for bugs. I'll just put it that way. But I love what they're doing, and I love the vision of the game. And it's kind of like a dream come true in some ways. What is my favorite archetype to play? And on top of that, your favorite power set. I don't like to do favorites. My favorite archetype and my favorite power set is like, what day of the week is it, you know? I definitely enjoy playing tanks. I definitely enjoy playing defenders and dominators. I would say sentinels. I'm kind of learning blaster. I'll be doing a new video on a new blaster soon-ish that has actually been quite a bit of fun to play. It would be easier for me to tell you what archetypes I don't like. But even that is starting to change as I've been just experimenting with stuff. Arcana asks, yes, about a beginner's guide. If I would be willing to do like a beginner's guide, like what kind of content to do for each level range, good archetypes and powers. I have not considered doing that. There are people who are much better suited for that. And City of Heroes is such a small community. There's no need for me to be a one-stop shop for everything City of Heroes related. I'm kind of happy like just doing what I'm doing. And finally, what's your social security number? It is 666-666666. Ozone asks, when you make a character, do you have a theme in mind? Or do you start building the character and change their appearance as you come up with a theme and then maybe go back and change the powers that fit the tune you created from the character appearance that caught your eye during the mood you're in at that point in time? I almost always start with just a general idea of a character, and then I just try to find the power sets that best fit that theme. That's pretty much it. Usually a theme and kind of a notion of what their costume is going to look like. And then he asked, do you have siblings, pets, or significant other? So siblings, yes. It's kind of a sensitive topic. I'm going to leave it at yes. I don't want this to be a sad video. Pets, I have a cat. She's adorable. She's an absolute sweetheart. But she is aggressively affectionate and an absolute attention bully. But I love her anyways. Significant other. For those of you who bother to watch through all of my videos at length, you may have heard her in the background from time to time. I try to sneak her in there. We've known each other since elementary school. We have a mutual friend that we've known probably for about the same amount of time, like middle school. And we sometimes joke that we are slowly turning into the Golden Girls, which is fine by me. I love the Golden Girls. I would like to think that I'm Dorothy, with her wit and sarcasm, but sometimes I'm so absent-minded that I think, if I'm being honest, I'm probably Rose. What is your favorite food, book, and movie? Okay, so here's where I had to take some notes because I knew that it would just be hard for me to remember. So I love sea scallops. As far as like savory goes, a dessert, tiramisu or espresso affogato. The books, I don't read as much as I would like, but I did like American Gods. I didn't love the TV show so much. I couldn't tell you why exactly, but it just did not click with me. But I did really enjoy the book. Movies. So at the top of my list are always Fargo and Rushmore. I love a good Wes Anderson movie, and Rushmore is one of my favorite. The Budapest Hotel, also. And then for spooky movies, I love The Exorcist. I love The Lighthouse. I adore The Lighthouse. Oh my goodness. That movie is phenomenal. And I love Jacob's Ladder. That one scared me when I was younger. Although, in all fairness, Large Marge from Pee-wee's Big Adventure scared me too. So, comedies. I love The Naked Gun. I love me some Leslie Nielsen. I crushed on Leslie Nielsen when I was younger. Like, just, that deep, resonant voice and his silver hair, like, oh my goodness. And just also, like, he was just a hilarious man. That I think he started out, like, wanting to be, like, a leading man, and that just didn't pan out, and then he got into comedies, and thank goodness he did, because that man can make me laugh like no other. I was so sad when he passed away. And then getting more into, like, classic movies, The Awful Truth. I know a lot of times, like, classic comedies, the humor doesn't hold up so well, not in, like, an offensive sense, but just in a, like, the sensibilities of the time were just different, you know. But The Awful Truth, I thought was hilarious, like, even now. It's Cary Grant and Irene Dunn, and it's such a funny movie. A tragedy. One I always go back to is The Children's Hour. It's such a sad movie. Shirley MacLaine and Audrey Hepburn. Just so sad, but, like, just a wonderfully done movie. Okay, so that's movies. What is your dream job?
I'm mad, I have to go to work, I have to earn a living. I'd rather have a private income and get laid, well and often.
Who's your celebrity crush? So definitely Karen Gillan. Definitely Jeffrey Wright. I love those two in everything that they do. There are some others, but it kind of just is dependent on the role that they're playing. Like, one example that comes to mind is Jason Isaacs. I didn't think anything of Jason Isaacs, to be honest, until I saw him on, what was the Star Trek show, Discovery? He was playing the captain, and I kind of crushed on him. Yes, Captain. Fire the torpedoes, please. I would be remiss if I failed to mention Toby Stephens from Black Sails. I love that show. And even though I know his character, spoilers if you haven't watched it, that is the only warning you'll get. You know, his character was gay, but what I wouldn't give to at least have the chance to try to convince him to broaden his horizons. Next question, what is your perfect weekend?
Get laid, well and often.
Do you believe character creation in games is more of a reflection of yourself or who you wish you were? I think a little of both, to be honest. I don't know that I have anything more insightful to add for that. What made you start a YouTube channel? Oh, I think I covered that. How do you feel about your followers so far? You guys have been great. It is mostly guys, but everyone has been just fun to chat with, and I have really enjoyed connecting with you guys. I guess, like, circling back to the question about, like, where would you like your channel to go? I would love to have some more female viewers. I don't even know if that's like a realistic goal. First of all, like I'm doing content that is probably predominantly male oriented, and also I know my particular sense of humor is maybe not palatable to someone, and I get that. But I am who I am. The most important, how are you today? I'm good today. Thank you. It's beautiful outside, actually. R-Type Ninja asks, did you play video games as a kid? And if so, what were some of your favorites? So yes, there were no consoles in our house growing up, but my dad and his brother were both nerds who were kind of early adopters of computers. They were tremendously expensive at that time, but they were just into it like as a hobby. And so that's how I got started on PC gaming. I don't remember all the computers that we had. I do remember the Commodore 64, and the games that I most remember are Forbidden Forest, and Seahorse. There's other games that I have memories of playing, but their names, again, have been lost to time. I wouldn't even know how to describe them. I was trying to search for Commodore 64 games, thinking like it might jog my memory, but there's so many of them, like it would take me forever to sift through it. Moving on to, like a Microsoft PC. I got started playing, they call them MUDs, multi-user dungeons. We had like Prodigy and AOL, and I discovered these MUDs. One was called Gemstone 3 and the other was called Dragon Realms, and it was text-based, but it was online, so there were other people. So that was my gateway drug to online gaming. Also, for the young ones out there, there was no such thing as but Wi-Fi. That there was no. Everything was done through phone lines, and phone companies would charge you, and I ran up some big bills playing those games. I made my dad very, very upset. And then another sort of formative game for me was my first real RPG, and that was Betrayal at Commodore. It's based on a series of books by Raymond E. Feist. That game was really out of its time. And then my uncle had this game called XWing, obviously Star Wars. And when we would go over his house, I would entertain myself by playing it. He had a flight stick and everything, and that got me hooked on just the idea of a space flight simulator. And that is the connective tissue to why I'm playing Star Citizen today. There was TIE Fighter, and then there was X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter, and I played all of them, and I loved all of them. And I always wanted an online version of that experience, and that's kind of what Star Citizen has given me. He asked, what would you do for a Klondike bar? I would pay some money, in US dollars, I guess. Who are the people out there engaging in activities in exchange for Klondike bars? I don't believe those people exist. No one out there is given a hand job for a Klondike bar. What is the square? Well, maybe if you were starving. What is the square root of 441 without a calculator? I'm gonna opt out of that one. Leilokin Skethic? Sorry if I butchered that. Pineapple on pizza, yay or nay? I don't mind pineapple on pizza. I don't order it, but I've had it when it was around, and there's it's fine. I'm not one of those people who's like offended by the idea of putting things that aren't, just cheese and pepperoni on a pizza. As I like to say, don't yuck my yum. And I think more people need to reflect on that. We all like different things, and that's great. I mean, I had a pizza recently that was like walnut, maple with figs and goat cheese. But like it was delicious. But if I'm ordering pizza most of the time, it depends on the quality of the pizza place. Like if it's kind of like a low quality, I stick with the basics, which is just pepperoni and then doused in hot sauce. If it's a better quality place, I might opt to do pepperoni, black olives, and feta cheese, and probably also doused in hot sauce. Follow-up question, is a taco a sandwich? I don't have strong feelings either way. I feel like over-categorizing things can be a problem. It's also useful to just call things that are substantially different by different words. So there's no reason to call a taco a sandwich, because you're just going to confuse people, right? If you say it's Sandwich Tuesday, that conjures up a very different idea in people's heads than Taco Tuesday, right? So, no, it's not a sandwich, I guess. I guess that's where I come down on it. T. Bathory asks, I was wondering how you make money on a starter character to afford your SOs. Oh my goodness, that's such a good question, and one that I don't feel like I'm qualified to answer at this point, because I have so many characters and the resources that just kind of accumulate as you level up more characters, that I haven't had to start from scratch. Although I am currently beginning to explore the ThunderSpy server. I'm not leaving Homecoming, but I'm curious. So I will be starting from scratch. Although I guess that doesn't really apply, because you're probably talking about Homecoming, and I think ThunderSpy is substantially different. A lot of people have done a lot of guides on how to do it. There's one guy in this channel who seems to have like a really thoughtful and detailed plan on how to start from scratch. That guy should be doing a guide. Even if it's not a video, do a written guide. Put it on the forums. I think that would be of value to people. I'm sorry that I don't have a good answer to your question. I really am. But when I start a new character, I'd send money to them for my other characters. And I haven't had to worry about where I'm going to get my influence from in a very long time. Jackpot's Dad Productions asks, have you ever read the web serial Worm? Right up your alley in terms of dark-themed hero villains. I have not. That sounds interesting. And I can look into it. Thank you. While David asks, have you ever? Probably. Without anything more specific, I would just say probably, because I probably have. Any interest in playing Gold Side? Would be interesting to see which side you pick and the harder enemies. Yes, I do play Gold Side. have leveled through it a number of times on a number of different characters. If I am not in a hurry to level up a character, I almost always choose to start on Gold Side. Would I make a video on it? Maybe. Well, I can tell you right now, I've only ever done like the Power Loyalist. So if I did a video, I would probably have to choose something other than that, just to keep things interesting for me. Severn Run Aquatics asks, what's a primary, secondary set they've never played but think would be interesting to try, and why? I'm actually doing that right now. I took advantage of the Halloween event to work on a controller, which is an archetype that I never play, and it is a plant controller with a poison secondary. I started out making her as a Dominator, and then I really liked the character. It was a plant control and Thorn Assault, And then I was just curious about what a controller version would be like, so I started working on that, and it's interesting. I don't know that I could ever be converted to being a controller, champion, but it is interesting, and I do love the character. I love her costume, and I like the vibe of her powers, so I think it may be one that I stick with. What would be one thing you would change in the world if you had the power, and why? What one thing would you take away from the world, and why? I feel like this is one of those questions where, like, if you don't say I would end world hunger, or I would have world peace, then you're like a monster. But if I'm being honest, I would bring my sister back. And the thing that I would take away from the world right now is fucking COVID. I don't care if that's selfish. I think there's some more over on the side of, oh no, I think that's it. Is that it? Yeah. I think I got through them all. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that was of some value to you. But thank you all for your questions, and thank you for subscribing and giving me this milestone to celebrate. I'm deeply thankful. And I hope you all have just a lovely day.
Thank you for being a friend.
But before we start, a word from our sponsor, which is Manscaped. Have you glued your balls to your butthole again? Sorry, I'm just kidding. I don't have a sponsor. I have to ask, guys, who is Manscaped advertising to? Because I see their ads and their sponsorships on like every single gaming channel. And I just wonder, have the people at Manscaped, have they ever been to like a gaming convention? I've smelled the body odor. Like, it's a real thing. And I know, not all gamers, but it's a real thing. And, I just wonder, what lifestyle is Manscaped selling to these gamer guys? And if you were convinced to buy one of these trimmers, like, what do you think trimming your pubes is gonna do for you? Like, some of these guys, they've got some things that they gotta work out. Get a therapist, work on your anger issues, work on your inexplicable hatred of women, work on how to not dribble pee on the floor when you shake your dick, learn how to wash your ass. The kind of help that they need in their lives cannot be provided by a ball hair trimmer. There's so many things that you could work on that would drastically improve your life and your happiness. And on the list of things to work on, on a personal level, trimming your pubes should be so fucking far at the bottom. And that does not go to any of the gamers in this channel. Everyone here is amazing, but like, I don't know. It's just I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with this. Let's just get on with the show.